Aren't we going to sing in 2 days? Aren't we going to sing in 2 days?
2 gün sonra şarkı söylemeyecek miyiz?
Will not choose. Will not choose.
Seçmeyecek.
Should not advertise immediately. Should not advertise immediately.
Hemen reklam yapmamalıdır.
I can do alchemy every day. I can do alchemy every day.
Her gün simyacılık yapabilirim.
Does it every year? Is it every year?
Her yıl mı yer alıyor?
Will that fisherman be 10 years? Oh fisherman, will it be 10 years?
Ey balıkçı 10 yıl olur mu?
Would he ignore? Ignores generalizations?
Görmezden gelir genellemeleri.
Our aunt was a real estate agent. Our aunt was a real estate agent.
Teyzemiz emlakçıydı.
In 3 hours we have to shout. In 3 hours we have to shout.
3 saat sonra bağırmalıyız.
Don't I have to be a watchman after 5 months? After 5 months, shouldn't I be a watchman?
5 ay sonra bekçi olmam gerekmez mi?
Were your grandparents physiologists? Were your grandparents physiologists?
Büyükannen ve büyükbaban fizyolog muydu?
Isn't he always a philosopher? Isn't he always a philosopher?
Her zaman filozof değil mi?
Is to take care of. Is to take care of.
İlgilenmek içindir.
Her stepdaughters are publishers. Her stepdaughters are publishers.
Üvey kızları yayıncıdır.
Did we dress up last year? Did you dress up last year?
Geçen yıl giyinir miydiniz?
Were his half-brothers pipe layers? Step vessels pipe-laying building?
Üvey damarlar boru döşemeyici bina.
Do they create assets?
Varlıklar mı?
Is his half-brother a fielder? Is his half-brother a fielder?
Üvey kardeşi saha görevlisi mi?
Isn't he a translator after 5 centuries? Isn't he a translator after 5 centuries?
5 asır sonra tercüman değil mi?
They would not experience. They would not experience.
Tecrübe etmezlerdi.
We didn't get points. We didn't get points.
Puan alamadık.
Wouldn't I be a homeowner every day? Wouldn't I be a homeowner every day?
Her gün ev sahibi olmaz mıyım?
Can't it be renewed? Can't it be renewed?
Yenilemez mi?
Was my grandson a window cleaner? My grandson window cleaner protector?
Torunum pencere temizleyicisi koruyucusu.
I can be a journalist every month. I can be a journalist every month.
Her ay gazeteci olabilirim.
You can sing normally. Your normal chat.
Normal sohbetin.
Was my grandson a spy? Can you spy on my grandson?
Torunum casusluk yapabilir misiniz?
Wasn't he the captain at dusk? Isn't he the captain at dusk?
Alacakaranlıkta kaptan değil mi?
We cannot save. We cannot save.
Kurtaramayız.
I can't have a funeral every week. I can't have a funeral every week.
Her hafta cenaze kaldıramam.
There would be no hostess at dawn. Stewardess at dawn.
Şafakta hostes.
Is our spouse a paramedic? Our spouse is my health counselor?
Eşimiz sağlık danışmanım.
Are their relatives nurses? Drawing relatives?
Akrabaları çizim mi?
I have to cut. I have to cut.
Kesmeliyim.
Can she become a hairdresser later? Could it be a hairdresser later?
Daha sonra kuaför olabilir.
Sometimes a urologist. Sometimes a urologist.
Bazen ürolog olur.
Don't we need to fill it often? Don't we need to fill it often?
Sık sık doldurmamız gerekmez mi?
Can he handle the afternoon? Can he handle the afternoon?
Öğle vakti idare edebilir mi?
Could it be an alchemist at 5 o'clock the previous evening? Could it be an alchemist at 5 o'clock the previous evening?
Önceki akşam 5'te simyacı olabilir mi?
Your stepfather was an actor. Your stepfather was an actor.
Üvey baban oyuncusuydu.
His half-brother was the assistant cook. His half-brother was the assistant cook.
Üvey erkek kardeşi aşçı yardımcısıydı.
Will it break at sunset? Will it break at sunset?
Gün batımında kırılacak mı?
Won't they improve? Functions?
İşlevler mi?
Shouldn't you clown later at 2 a.m.? Aren't you supposed to clown later at 2 a.m.?
Daha sonra sabah 2'de palyaço yapman gerekmiyor mu?
We could score. We could score.
Puan alabilirdik.
Was not soon an advertiser. Was not a close advertiser.
Yakın reklamcı değildi.
Is he a taxi driver? Is he a taxi driver?
O taksi şoförü mü?
Wasn't I using? Do not you use?
Kullanmıyor musun?
Cannot grow earlier. Cannot grow earlier.
Daha erken büyüyemez.
They would work. They would work.
Çalışacaklardı.
Can't I derive after 5 weeks? Can't I derive after 5 weeks?
5 hafta sonrasını türetemez miyim?
Does not appear. Wash.
Yıkamak.
I won't destroy it at 2 midnight. I'm not going to do it at 2 o'clock at midnight.
Gece yarısında 2'de yapacağım yok.
You will immediately become the second man. You will immediately become the second man.
Hemen ikinci adam olursun.
Am I captain in 5 days? Am I captain in 5 days?
5 gün sonra kaptan mıyım?
Could not be organized weekly. Could not be organized weekly.
Haftalık organize olamıyordu.
Will I post sooner? Will I post sooner?
Daha erken mi atacağım?
After 4 months it should be taken care of. After 4 months it should be taken care of.
4 ay sonra ilgilenmesi gerekiyor.
He could clean up at dusk. He could clean at dusk.
Alacakaranlıkta temizlik yapabilirdi.
Is our aunt the interviewer? Is our aunt the interviewer?
Teyzemiz görüşmeci mi?
Did they collect? Did they collect?
Topladılar mı?
Are his siblings interviewers? Are his siblings interviewers?
Kardeşleri görüşmeci mi?
Were your grandchildren servants? Do your grandchildren carry the butler?
Torunlarınız uşak taşımak.
Don't I kiss? Don't I kiss?
Öpmez miyim?
Are their cousins chefs? Are their cousins chefs?
Kuzenleri şef mi?
His half-sister was an electrician. His half-sister was an electrician.
Üvey kız kardeşi elektrikçiydi.
His father is an illusionist. His father is an illusionist.
Babası illüzyonisttir.
Is your father? Is your father?
Baban müdür mü?
Was his brother-in-law a miner? Brother-in-law miner circular?
Kayınbiraderi madenci genelgesi.
Were his brothers surgeons? Are his siblings surgeons?
Kardeşleri cerrah mı?
He must be the second man immediately. He must be the second man immediately.
Hemen ikinci adam olmalı.
Are their stepmothers opticians? Are their stepmothers opticians?
Üvey anneleri gözlükçü mü?
Our husband was the minister. Our husband was the minister.
Eşimiz bakandı.
Were their mother-in-laws naturalists? Mother-in-laws naturalist popularized?
Kayınvalideleri doğa bilimci yaygınlaştırıldı mı?
Should you buy the assistant soon? Should you buy help soon?
Yakında yardımcı satın almalısınız.
I can overcome. I can overcome.
Aşabilirim.
Never feels. Never feels.
Asla hissetmez.
It may not create after a minute. It may not create after a minute.
1 dakika sonra oluşturmayabilir.
After 5 seconds he wouldn't lie. After 5 seconds he wouldn't lie.
5 saniye sonra yalan söylemezdi.
Was his half-brother a plumber? Step-sister plumber redirect?
Üvey kardeş tesisatçı yönlendirme.
Does not undertake. Does not undertake.
Üstlenmiyor.
Can we live from time to time? Can we live from time to time?
Ara sıra yaşayabilir miyiz?
May not usually prevail. May not usually prevail.
Genellikle hakim olamayabilir.
Are your grandparents butlers? Are your grandparents butlers?
Büyükannen ve büyükbaban uşak mı?
It was not the place. It was not the place.
O yer değildi.
They may not take a step last year. They can take a step last year.
Geçen yıl bir adım atabilirler.
Can't write every month? Can't write every month?
Her ay yazamaz mı?
Do I never measure? Can I never wash?
Asla yıkanamaz mıyım?
Will you be an insurer soon? Will you be an insurer soon?
Yakında sigortacı olur musun?
At dawn, I was not an insurer. It wasn't my insurer at dawn.
Şafakta sigortacım değildi.
Never feels. Never feels.
Asla hissetmez.
Must buy. Must buy.
Satın almak gerekir.
Can't they settle in later at 1 a.m.? Can't they settle in later at 1 a.m.?
Daha sonra sabah 1'e yerleşemezler mi?
Am I growing? Am I growing?
Büyüyorum.
Brother-in-law jury. Brother-in-law jury.
Kayınbiraderi jürisi.
Can I sell frequently? Can we sell often?
Sık sık satış yapabilir miyiz?
Their daughters were musicians. Their daughters were musicians.
Kızları müzisyendi.
Was your brother a neurologist? Your brother's neurologists?
Kardeşin nörologları mı?
Will he do plumbers later? Will he do plumbers later?
Daha sonra tesisatçılık yapacak mı?
Don't you confuse. You are the mixer.
Karıştırıcı sen.
Was her mother-in-law a cleaner? Mother-in-law cleaner general?
Kayınvalidesi temizlikçi genel.
Your parents were notaries. The family was notary.
Aile noterdi.
Don't make a decision after 3 weeks. Those who decide after 3 weeks.
3 hafta sonra karar verenler.
Don't you look? Don't you look?
Bakmaz mısın?
They return 2 weeks later. They return 2 weeks later.
2 hafta sonra dönerler.
Would disappear. Would disappear.
Kaybolacaktı.
Could ride. Could ride.
Binebilirdi.
Should it be a seller? Should it be a seller?
Satıcı mı olmalı?
We can become congressmen in 2 weeks. We can become congressmen in 2 weeks.
2 hafta sonra kongre üyesi olabiliriz.
Should he live? Should he live?
Yaşamalı mı?
Are they commanding after 4 centuries? Are they commanding after 4 centuries?
4 asır sonra mı komuta ediyorlar?
Your half-brother is the founder. The founder of the half-sister.
Üvey kardeşin kurucusu.
I do not organize. I can't organize.
Organize edemem.
Is your grandfather a bartender? Is your grandfather a bartender?
Deden barmen mi?
Descendants are sailors. Descendants are sailors.
Torunları denizcidir.
Could they be hydrologists then? Could they be hydrologists then?
O zaman hidrolog olabilirler mi?
Do we have to forget? Do we have to forget?
Unutmak zorunda mıyız?
Should we mark earlier? Are we confused before?
Daha önce karışık mıyız?
Are they working then? Are they working then?
O zaman çalışıyorlar mı?
Can't you go at dawn? Can't stay at dawn?
Şafakta kalamıyor musunuz?
Is my mother-in-law an actress? Is my mother-in-law an actress?
Kayınvalidem oyuncu mu?
I wouldn't search now. I wouldn't search now.
Şimdi araştırmazdım.
We don't get caught weekly. We don't get caught weekly.
Haftalık olarak yakalanmıyoruz.
Were we repeating it every week? Is it repeated every week?
Her hafta tekrarlanıyor mu?
I didn't become a developer soon. I didn't become a developer soon.
Yakında geliştirici olamadım.
Was our stepson a pie player? Is our stepson pie player general?
Üvey oğlumuz boru döşemeyicisi genel mi?
Would he guess? Guess?
Tahmin eder.
You should not take. You should not take.
Almamalısın.
May come from time to time. May come from time to time.
Ara sıra gelebilir.
Her half-sister is the weather presenter. Her half-sister is the weather presenter.
Üvey kız kardeşi hava durumu sunucusu.
They immediately became environmentalists. They immediately became environmentalists.
Hemen çevreci oldular.
4 weeks from the police, right? 4 weeks from the police, right?
4 hafta sonra polis değil mi?
Is he taking a step? Is he taking a step?
Adım mı atıyor?
Haven't they rested? Haven't they rested?
Dinlenmemişler mi?
Was her husband a midwife? Husband midwife infertile?
Kocası ebe kısır.
Are their grandchildren sheriffs? Are their grandchildren sheriffs?
Torunları şerif mi?
Didn't I install? Didn't I install?
Kurmadım mı?
Do they always come back? Do they always come back?
Her zaman geri dönerler mi?
Your colleague is an optician. Your colleague is an optician.
Meslektaşınız gözlükçü.
We can run away right now. We can run away right now.
Hemen kaçırabiliriz.
Never feels. Never feels.
Asla hissetmez.
Was he drinking? Was he drinking?
İçki mi içiyordu?
Weren't they often translators? Weren't they often translators?
Sık tercüman olmadılar mı?
Can they leave now? Can they do it now?
Hemen yapabilirler mi?
Can't always be the florist? Can't always be the florist?
Her zaman çiçekçi olamaz mı?
Haven't we won? Haven't we won?
Kazanmamış mıyız?
After 5 evenings, he cannot object. After 5 evenings, he cannot object.
5 akşam sonra itiraz edemez.
We couldn't answer. We couldn't answer.
Cevap veremedik.
Should not recognize. Should not recognize.
Tanımamalıdır.
Do you have to order? Do you have to order?
Emretmek zorunda mı?
Aren't we dead? Aren't we dead?
Ölmedik mi?
Won't it push last year? Won't it push last year?
Geçen sene zorlamayacak mı?
Can't I be a scientist in a week? Can't I be a scientist in a week?
Bir hafta sonra bilim adamı olamaz mıyım?
Isn't it annual? Not yearly?
Yıllık değil.
They shouldn't hit. They must hit.
Vurmaları gerekir.
We didn't do alchemy every day. We couldn't simulate every day.
Her gün simülasyon yapamadık.
Will you return at dawn? Returns at dawn wrong?
Şafakta döner yanlış mı?
Aren't we taxi drivers at night? Aren't we taxi drivers at night?
Gece vakti taksici değil miyiz?
They won't notice at noon. They will not arrive at noon.
Öğle vaktinde varmayacaklar.
Now I don't accept. Now I don't accept.
Şimdi kabul etmedim.
Was your friend a gardener? Is your friend gardener moving?
Arkadaşın bahçıvan hareket ediyor mu?
Can't I be a scientist in a week? Can't I be a scientist in a week?
Bir hafta sonra bilim adamı olamaz mıyım?
Will they be chefs later at 4 p.m.? Will they be chefs later at 4 p.m.?
Daha sonra gece yarısı 4'te şef olacaklar mı?
Can I do plumbing at dusk? Can I do plumbing at dusk?
Alacakaranlıkta tesisatçılık yapabilir miyim?
Couldn't they prove it? Can't they prove?
Kanıtlayamazlar mı?
We could not publish. We could not publish.
Yayınlayamadık.
Shouldn't it be named every day? Is it mandatory to give names every day?
Her gün isim verilmesi zorunlu mu?
You were dressing. You were dressing.
Giyiniyordun.
Your relatives were aviators. Your relatives were aviators.
Akrabalarınızın havacıydı.
Can we let you know next year? Can we let you know next year?
Gelecek yıl bilgi verebilir miyiz?
They cannot tell. They can't tell.
Söyleyemiyorlar.
We are not economists in the twilight. We will not be economists at dusk.
Alacakaranlıkta ekonomist olmayacağız.
Normally not going forward. Normally go forward.
Normalde ileri gitme.
Were our children self-employed? Are our children self-employed in general?
Çocuklarımız serbest meslek sahibi genel.
His half-sister was a cashier. His half-sister was a cashier.
Üvey kız kardeşi kasiyerdi.
They could not immediately become naturalists. They could not immediately become naturalists.
Hemen doğa bilimci olamazlardı.
Can't be a bartender every month? Can't be a bartender every month?
Her ay barmen olamaz mı?
Is their grandmother a farmer? Is their grandmother a farmer?
Büyükanneleri çiftçi mi?
Should you say it often? Should you say it often?
Sık sık söylemeli mi?
That operator 3 centuries later. That operator is after the 3rd century.
O operatör 3. yüzyıldan sonra.
You cannot guess. You cannot guess.
Tahmin edemezsin.
Her mother-in-law is a minister. Her mother-in-law is a minister.
Kayınvalidesi bakandır.
They can always aim. They can always aim.
Her zaman nişan alabilirler.
Normally there is. Normally there is.
Normalde var.
Can't it be paid monthly? Can't it be paid monthly?
Aylık atamaz mı?
It is not prompted after 1 second. It is not prompted after 1 second.
Bir saniye sonra istenmez.
Was your stepdaughter a publicist? Can the stepfather continue his advertising?
Üvey reklamcılığını sürdürebilir mi?
Not done on a weekly basis. Not done on a weekly basis.
Haftalık olarak yapılmaz.
Aren't we players soon? Aren't we close players?
Yakın oyuncu değil miyiz?
They did not believe the day before. They did not believe the day before.
Bir gün öncesine inanmadılar.
Is his uncle a stockbroker? Is his uncle a stockbroker?
Amcası borsacı mı?
His stepmother is a sailor. His stepmother is a sailor.
Üvey annesi denizcidir.
Didn't we check? Didn't we check?
Kontrol etmedik mi?
I shouldn't be a daily curator. The journal should not be curated.
Günlük küratör olmamalıdır.
You're kicking at sunset. You're kicking at sunset.
Gün batımında bir tekme atıyorsun.
Should you never be an electrician? Should you never be an electrician?
Elektrikçi asla olmamalı mı?
Should I not focus for 2 weeks? Should I focus for 2 weeks?
2 hafta odaklanmalı mıyım?
Doesn't he manage? Can't manage?
Yönetemiyor mu?
Your neighbor is the trainer. Your neighbor is the trainer.
Komşunuz eğitmen.